Today, we're bringing you a story the mainstream media refuses to touch. Because they're not just ignoring it, they're actively part of it. An FBI insider has stepped forward, blowing the lid off the silent purge of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. According to him, Virginia Giuffre's death was only the beginning, just the first crack in a much larger, much darker operation. Dozens of Epstein survivors, many of them not famous, not household names, are quietly being purged, their deaths buried without a trace. But each of them was a threat to the elite, and they're now being removed one by one before they can expose the truth. The FBI, instead of protecting these victims, has been complicit in covering up their murders, all to shield the VIPs who've got everything to lose if the full scope of Epstein's crimes ever comes to light. Giuffre wasn't the first, and she won't be the last. Before we dive in, join the TPV free speech community over on Soju. Soju is a digital space where ideas and information can take place without any annoying algorithms or restrictive rules getting in the way of free expression. You know the name Virginia Giuffre. She was one of the bravest voices to stand up against the elite paedophile ring. A survivor who stared down billionaires and predators in broad daylight, daring them to deny what they did. Virginia Giuffre was a live wire, unpredictable, fearless, and far too close to the truth. To the elite, she wasn't just a problem, she was a threat. And in a world where power and evil protects itself at all costs, threats get eliminated. Virginia knew what she was up against. She warned us. She said they were watching her, following her, waiting for the right moment. Weeks before her death, they nearly succeeded, leaving her clinging to life after a suspicious and brutal traffic accident. And still, she spoke out. But the media, they mocked. They smeared her. They protected the monsters she was exposing. What most people don't realize is that Virginia knew this day was coming. She planned for it. Before her death, Virginia triggered a dead man's switch, a last resort designed to release the truth if anything happened to her. That switch has now been activated and sent to organizations that she trusted. And what it contains is explosive. We'll be playing the relevant parts of it shortly. But before we dive deeper, it is crucial to understand that Virginia Giuffre was only the beginning. Just the tip of an iceberg far darker than anyone imagines. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of Epstein victims. Most of them never got a chance to tell their story. They've been silenced, picked off one by one, while the world looked the other way. And Virginia, she wasn't the first. Take Carolyn Adriano. Her powerful testimony helped put Ghislaine Maxwell behind bars. She named names, she spoke truth to power. And a couple of years later, the mother of 5 was found dead in a hotel room. The official story? Accidental overdose. Her mother isn't buying it. All she ever wanted was justice for her daughter and real answers about what really happened. But instead, she's been met with silence.
Because she would disappear out of shame.
Authorities declared her daughter Carolyn dead due to an overdose in May of last year. She left behind 5 children and her mother. The only person somewhat responsible was Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in jail.
I couldn't even sleep in my room because I've got all Carolyn's artifacts of memories we made. And I said to my son, I said, I can't sleep in my own room. All I see is Carolyn. Who's gonna fix that?
Now that more than 150 names of persons associated with Epstein have been revealed, a sense of hope invade her and only wishes that those responsible face justice, even though she still has to live without her daughter.
I was literally robbed. I was raped. I was literally raped. And those men need to know that. Not only did you rape our children, but you raped their mothers. It goes up a family tree. And they need to know that. They need to be held responsible for it.
Justice must be served. For millennia, this ancient paedophile cult has evaded punishment, hiding in plain sight, and continuing to prey on the young. But the time for reckoning has come, and it's long overdue.
I implore the people in the UK to stand up beside me, to help me fight this fight, to not accept this as being okay. This is not some sordid sex story. This is a story of being trafficked.
Virginia made it public multiple times that if anything happened to her, it was not by her own hand. If something happens to me, she said, for the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. In that spirit, we're going to share the relevant parts of the first message from Virginia's dead man Switch, which was delivered to us just 24 hours after her death. In her message, Virginia reveals a chilling truth. Epstein is still alive, being shielded by the very people he once served and those on whom he holds compromising blackmail material. She also exposes the names of several high-profile figures who have so far escaped the spotlight, but are deeply involved in Epstein's notorious paedophile ring.
If you're watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. Barack Obama. Publicly, he's revered. Privately, he was one of the worst. He wasn't there for the girls, he was there for the island boys. Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist, loved by the media, hailed as a savior. We called him the benefactor, and we used to dread seeing him naked. Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable. He held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on Earth.
You can hear her message in its entirety by subscribing to me on X. Now, an insider from deep inside the FBI is breaking ranks, warning us that Virginia's death was not random. It was part of a silent purge. And these deaths are systematic. They're deliberate. And if the pattern continues, the list of Epstein survivors will keep getting shorter, until the international paedophile elite feels safe in the knowledge their vile crimes have been totally covered up. We have the details after this important word from our sponsor. The Illuminati is real, but it's not what you think it is. What we're witnessing today is the cult of Baal, an ancient satanic fertility cult that worships pedophiles and practices forced incest and inbreeding.
Evidence for the worship of Moloch is found in the Old Testament, with variant names Molech, Melech, and Baal, meaning Lord, and also the Phoenician theonym for Moloch is MLK. If the classical reports are accurate, Moloch represents a deity or symbology associated with child sacrifice and is fervently despised in the Old Testament. Other than claims from Alex Jones during his escapades with Bohemian Grove, no archaeological or historical evidence states Moloch or any of his variant names resemble an owl. Rabbinical tradition depicted Moloch as a bronze statue with the head of a bull and a large human body where victims were thrown into fire. The Canaanite deity has also been drawn and referred to as Kronos due to the parallel mytheme of the Titan god devouring his children. Other controversial interpretations can be found in the origins of Freemasonry, as revealed in the Royal Arch Degree in the Rituals of Exaltation. The name of the great architect of the universe is a trinity of words, Ja-Bulan, translating to Yahweh, Baal, and Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of fertility, resurrection, and the underworld.
The temple on Epstein's Little St. James Island was a homage to the Mamluk era, when captured children were taken as slaves to do the bidding of the elite class. Young boys and girls were enslaved and groomed to later become personal concubines of their masters. This twisted vision of children as commodities, slaves and concubines permeates the entire globalist system, from the unelected bureaucrats in the UN and WEF to the entertainment industry in Hollywood, which not only promotes perversion, but also engages in systematic child abuse behind closed doors.
Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, 2 Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care.
Most people don't want to cross the psychological line that this stuff is going on. And we all have a mental defense mechanism. It's like finally admitting there's an elite pedophile ring. I mean, most people just don't want to go there. And the same is here. Psychologically, you lose your safety, your security, and whatever innocence you have when you realize that this stuff is really going on. And it's a chore to cross over that barrier and realize, oh my gosh, this stuff is really happening. And that's why it takes critical thinking. The people have got to look at this stuff critically and see what they're being fed so they can cross that psychological line that they just refuse to see it when it's right in front of them.
In a world where secrets are buried and justice is denied, an FBI insider has come forward with a bombshell that could change everything. This whistleblower, someone still working within the Bureau, is ready to expose the truth about what's really happening behind closed doors. According to this source, while there are a few white hat agents within the FBI who are working tirelessly to bring the truth to light, the overwhelming majority are complicit in the cover-up. They are actively working to protect the elite and their monstrous crimes, doing everything they can to bury the truth, because they serve the same forces who orchestrated these heinous acts. It's clear that the FBI has become a tool of the very people they're supposed to be investigating, the perpetrators of unspeakable crimes.
All right, listen up. I'm coming forward now because I can't stay silent no more. You need to hear this, and you need to hear it now, before they erase every trace of it. There's a girl. I'm not going to say her name, not yet, but she's from Missouri. Last year, she turned up dead, found floating in a river like some sort of message. It wasn't an accident, not by any means. The authorities called it a drowning, but I know better. The bruises on her neck, the blood around her mouth, that wasn't water. That was blood. She was taken out. She had secrets. She was one of them, one of Epstein's girls. She was part of the machine, and that's why they got rid of her. Ain't no investigation, though. No questions. It's like she never existed. And the thing is, the FBI knew about it. They always know, but they'll cover it up. They'll sweep it under the rug, let it all fade away quietly, because that's what they do when they need to protect their own. You see, most people don't realize just how deep this runs. Virginia wasn't the first, she won't be the last. But let me tell you, she's the loudest, and that's why they had to make an example of her. These victims, they're getting picked off one by one. But it ain't on the news, it ain't trending. You won't see it, hear it, or read about it. But they're all out there, and they're dangerous to the elites. Most of these women, they ain't got no big name like Virginia. They didn't get a chance to shout it from the rooftops. They thought they survived. They thought they could live their lives, but they never really got away. As soon as you start talking about these people, you mark yourself for death. Power don't like to feel vulnerable, and that's exactly what these women were, a threat to the system. Now you gotta understand, this ain't just a U.S. problem. These people got connections everywhere. Look at where Virginia was taken out. Perth, Australia, the most isolated city in the world. Do you understand what that means? These tentacles, they reach far, and they will reach for anyone who dares to expose them. I've seen it, I know it, but most people don't, and that's why they're getting away with it. They're sweeping it all under the rug, and you won't hear a word from the mainstream about any of this. The truth is, some of these girls never even told their story, never got a chance to, and the ones that did, they're silenced. And when you start getting too close to the truth, when you start naming names, the elites can't let that happen. Too many people stand to lose too much. And you know what the FBI is doing? They're not out here looking for the truth. No, they're too busy covering it up, too busy protecting their own. There are agents in that agency who would sell their soul to keep the lid on this. Some of us, we know what's going on. We're trying to expose it, but the deep state's influence runs deep, too deep in the Bureau, and it's all about protecting the elite. They don't want this truth out. They'll do anything to silence it. So yeah, it's dangerous talking about this. It's dangerous speaking out. But if we don't, who will? You know what's really happening. And we can't let it stay buried. We can't let them get away with it.
It's time to take a stand. Will you align with the elite and their mouthpieces in the mainstream media? Or will you be one of the few with the courage to think critically, to ask the hard questions, and to face the uncomfortable truths they work so hard to bury? The choice is yours. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our amazing team and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. I hope to see you there. Today's video is brought to you by IPv6ers. Are you a content creator who wants to publish information online without Big Brother spying and censoring your every move? IPv6ers is set to revolutionize the